Hi, and welcome to Community Hotline. My name is Monica Weitzel. We're here in Gresham at MetroEast Community Media. Thanks for joining us tonight. And with me tonight is Dave Eatwell, who is the Executive Director of the West Columbia Gorge Chamber of Commerce. Thanks for being here, Dave.
Certainly.
Good to have you. Now, the West Columbia Gorge Chamber of Commerce has been on a couple of times. You, however, have not. So I'm glad to have you here representing the East County area today. Now, for those who haven't seen previous shows where we've featured the Chamber, maybe you could tell our viewers a little bit about what, maybe a little history on the West Columbia Gorge Chamber and what it is you do in this area.
Well, the West Columbia Gorge Chamber of Commerce is, we do what other chambers of commerce do. We work with business people to make a better business environment, basically to create that rising tide that lifts all boats. But I think at the bottom line, any economic development that doesn't also create a better community is not the best possible economic development, and so we're looking at supporting our community with better jobs and a more vibrant community that where people want to live.
So it's not really just helping the businesses, it's helping the community as a whole. Obviously, if there's more jobs, all that just kind of trickles down.
Right.
So the Gorge, Columbia Gorge Chamber, West Columbia Gorge Chamber, it covers what area? It's a fairly large area, is it not?
Well, land-wise, because we serve the cities of Fairview, Wood Village, Troutdale, and also Cascade Locks.
Okay.
And we've taken this on. Actually, it's the organization's existed since back into the 70s, but these small cities have such a different culture and history as the metropolitan area that surrounds it, that we feel it is really important to maintain our independence and to continue to retain and nurture the history and culture of these small towns as it's come up over the recent decades and decades.
Good. And it's becoming a huge tourist area too. I know you've been involved in the tourism aspect of it also. According
to National Geographic Traveler magazine, the West Columbia Gorge is the 6th most beautiful place on earth.
Really? 6? That's pretty good.
I personally question that. I think it ranks higher, but that's just my own.
And are you native to this area, or have you been here a long time?
I am an Oreganism.
You're an Oreganism, okay.
I was born and raised in the state, yes.
Yeah, me too. So the Gorge Chamber has a program that you're kind of featuring right now. That's the Live Near Work program.
Yes.
Why don't you tell me what that's all about? It's kind of self-explanatory, but I think it needs a little explanation.
Well, it's been a long time in the making here, but we noticed that there are some commuting patterns in our area that basically what it comes down to is most of the people who live in our area commute out of the area to go to work. Okay. And the vast majority of people who work in what we call the Columbia Cascade River District, and that's the industrial area north of I-84 and from about 182nd out towards the Sandy River. Most of the people who work there commute into the area. And there's a long history with that, but if you look at Portland in general, Portland's development, by and large, neighborhoods developed around streetcar and trolley lines, or they developed where people could actually walk to and from work in the industrial areas. If you look at all along Columbia Boulevard in North Portland, the neighborhoods of Portsmouth and St. John's and Kenton were all built so that people could walk to and from work along Columbia Boulevard. Vanport was built so that people could walk to the shipyards, either in Vancouver or in Portland. Right. But after the Second World War, the availability of privately owned vehicles and the development and construction of new high-capacity road systems, and in searching for higher salary or for whatever, people have begun to now commute 20, 25, 30, 35 miles each way to and from work.
It's not such a big deal anymore to do that to people.
Well,
it wasn't.
The initial perception is, but in the long run, it actually has caused a fraying of of the community's fabric, because our communities used to be focused very locally. You lived and worked in the same area, and you know, a family's focus was on the school, which was a few blocks away or down the street. Your church was in the same area. And when your employer donates $1,000 to support a Little League team, the employer's kids, the employee's kids actually played on that Little League team. You can't assume that anymore.
That's true.
That you don't have those kinds of connections in the community. And our Live Near Work program is designed to recreate and bolster the community fabric by getting people to live within 3 miles of where they work.
So what are some of the other benefits of living near? Obviously, there's not that huge commute, and with the cost of gas and just the cost of maintaining a private vehicle, that's obviously an advantage. What are some of the other advantages of living near where you work?
Well, the advantages to the employee are obvious. The idea that the employee, and especially if the employee is assisted in buying a home, in buying a home, you begin to accrue wealth. You feel more focused, more invested in the community. People who own their homes take better care of the home than they do of a rental property usually. Because they feel more permanent, they tend to get more involved in their local activities, invest themselves, and they also develop a stronger support system. And it's obvious that saving, you know, $10 a day on gasoline is I mean, that's an obvious financial thing. But
what about the time?
And time, you have time. Every hour that you spend looking at brake lights, coming home from work, is an hour you're not coaching a Little League team or helping your kids with their homework, or just spending time with your family, or out yourself taking a college class, or
doing volunteer work,
working with your community in some way. So there's that loss and it's a real monetary loss to the community of things that you're not doing for the community's benefit. But what I think is overlooked quite often is the financial benefit to the employer.
Right, and this program really targets employers to take a look at that, right?
Very much so.
So tell me how that works.
Well, the idea is that an employee that commutes 3 miles or can walk to and from work, why is that good for the employer? Well, that's good because your employee arrives relatively fresh. You know, they're not in a bad mood from looking at stoplights. They haven't been cut up, things like that. It means your employee can actually be a one-car family. A spouse can take someone to work and go get them after a shift when it's only 3 miles away. Sure. Or it's possible to ride a bike or walk or whatever. It means that during bad weather, your employee still gets there and doesn't get there late.
They can't blame it on the long bus ride from Portland if they're coming out to Wood Village. It
also means that when the employee's child has a dental appointment, the employee's gone for an hour and a half, not all day or half a day. But the biggest savings for the employer is that when your employee buys a home within 3 miles or very close to where they work, they tend to become focused on that geographic space. Their kids are going to school much more closely. They will go out and find a dentist, a doctor, all those things that you need to support your family life. You begin to find, renters don't do that because they don't feel permanent. And so it stabilizes the school system. Your crime rate goes down. Kids are staying in the same school. They become more connected with their community. But the big thing for the employer is that they're not constantly retraining people because their turnover rate goes down. Employee morale goes up. They're not retraining people. They're not paying to recruit people. And they have a retention rate that's very high. We have some companies in the area that already have very high retention rates. They're very well managed. But we also have some companies in the area that, just by the way that things work, they have a turnover rate, and we'd like to help them stop that.
Okay, so obviously the premise for this is that buying a home in the area near where you work is beneficial. How does the Live Near Work program help with that? How, say I work out here and I want to buy a home out here, but I don't know the first place about how to begin. I have a bad credit rating. What can you do to help?
Well, basically, we have assembled a team of volunteers and they're professionals from RE/MAX Equity Group, from Riverview Community Bank, from Key Bank, and also from the Portland Housing Center.
Okay.
And what we can do with the permission of an employer is to either through inserts into pay envelopes or posters in the lunchroom, or we can actually come in and present workshops on site
to the employees.
To the employees about how to buy a home, the benefits of buying a home near where you work. What does it take? What are the risks? And also, once you have a home, here's what it's going to take to maintain the home. You know, budgeting, things like that. And for an employee who already has a credit problem, the Portland Housing Center has an entire program of credit repair.
Oh.
And
okay.
so the idea is that if you have bad credit, it doesn't happen instantly, but over a period of time, they can help you repair your credit, get you ready so that you can step up to the line. You've got the down payment already, and you can buy a house. This program is aimed primarily at first-time home buyers or people who are renting in other parts of the city, the metropolitan area, to get them to move into this area.
So is there a large cost involved for the employees or the employers to be part of this program?
This is a great part of it. We are supported with a federal grant that's administered through TriMet, and it costs absolutely nothing to the employer, unless the employer wants to make an investment. And I mean, we can offer the services I just named at no cost to the employer. All we need is their permission to contact and provide the services to their employees. But there have been some employers who have implemented a live near work program because they did have a high turnover rate. They had high absenteeism and bad weather, things like that. And so what I think Emmanuel Hospital is probably one of the best local examples of that, where you present the employee with a $5,000 loan or whatever size of loan you want as down payment assistance. Wow. And for every year that the employee stays with your company, a certain part of that loan is forgiven. So if it's 20% every year they stay with it, after 5 years the loan is gone.
Wow.
But you also have an employee who is now anchored with your company. They've been there 5 years, they live in the community, their kids are going to school, they've invested in their home.
They're not likely to move on.
Right. Now, if the company is not up to making a loan that way, there's also that's a totally forgivable loan. But there's also the possibility of a loan that becomes a lien on the property. Say you provide $5,000 for down payment assistance, closing costs, it becomes a lien on the property, and it remains a lien on the property until the property sells, until they, for some reason, move. They have to be there at least a certain number of years.
So your organization, the Live Near Work program, can give advice like this to the employers as to options they have, and advice to the employees too.
Well, our first contact is to get permission from the employers.
Right. And once they say yes, then you can talk with them.
Yes, and we would work consistently with their HR department, personnel department, whatever. But the idea is that it's totally free to the employer if they choose it to be. And we also think that this is a great reason for companies that currently have operate in other parts of the metropolitan area of the state, that, you know, the West Columbia Gorge is a good place to move your company here.
It is.
You know, we will gladly help you find employees and get them anchored to your business.
Good. Well, we're just about out of time, Dave. So any last words that we should know? Go to the website. Is there a website where they can check this out?
They can contact the West Columbia Gorge Chamber of Commerce website. We'll give you phone numbers and emails. Contact me directly, and I'll be glad to come out and meet with your company.
Wonderful. Dave Eatwell, thank you very much for being with us tonight. I appreciate it. If any of you are interested in doing this, which obviously it's a great opportunity, employers, employees alike, go ahead and check out the website, contact Dave. They can help you out. Don't go away. We'll be right back with more of Community Hotline.